Hello, my name is Danny Diaz, and the film and novel I'm going to be talking about is The Outsiders. So, the scene that I would like to talk about is a pretty simple scene. It's not really like iconic in any way or important to the story, but it's kind of just like has an underlying meaning to me that I noticed. So, the scene is gonna be about chocolate cake for the three boys, Pony Boy, Dairy, and Soda Pop. So in the book reads, all three of us like chocolate cake for breakfast. Mom had never allowed it with ham and eggs, but Dairy let Soda and me talk him into it. Stein, page 88. So Pony Boy and his brothers have this interesting relationship with chocolate cake. Um, in the novel, it kind of explains like how the chocolate cake, like they all love chocolate cake and they like can all agree on it to eat it for breakfast every morning. But in the novel, I mean, no, in the film version, it shows just a very short clip. Well, I'm gonna play the clip right now, but
This house ain't messy. You gotta see my house.
I have, and if you had the sense of a billy goat, you'd start cleaning your house up instead of bumming around ours.
Shoot, kid. If I ever did that, my mom would die of shock. Hey, boy, hungry. You know what it takes, you got it, baby.
okay, so in that short scene of the movie, the chocolate cake makes a simple, like almost like cameo appearance. It really has no meaning to it, and it's just two bit. Not even one of the three brothers eating the cake with a beer while watching his Mickey Mouse. Um, but in the novel, I depicted the cake of having a much deeper meaning, and the chocolate cake is a kind of like a bittersweet item, I guess, token, because it says that like their mom, who has passed, never allowed them to eat chocolate cake in the morning, and she like just absolutely prohibited it. But now that she passed away, they all decided that they would have chocolate cake in the morning for breakfast every morning. Even though they all take enjoyment in that chocolate cake, in the back of their mind, it just kind of reminds them that yes, like their mother's passed along with their father, and it's just always like every day just there to remind them about their just their two parents. Even though it brings them happiness, it still like is a reminder of the most tragic thing that's happened to them so far. Okay, so this class did actually change the way I watched some of these films. Like I really don't really watch many movies or TV at all, but just like whenever as I started watching more and more of the films, especially like towards the end, like I would just like, oh, like they use that close up to make the scene more dramatic, or like just like kind of like little stuff like that. Like nothing really like too groundbreaking, but it's almost not like annoying, but just like it's just there. Like I'll just notice like, oh yeah, the director wanted to add this element to the film, well, to this little scene, just by simply adding a little bit of background music, and then or even just like zooming in on the character's face a little bit, or breaking the focus of the camera, like little stuff like that. Like it kind of just made me realize like like every little change in the direction of the film, and I don't know how much I enjoy that yet, because it kind of just like makes brings me out of the movie for a little bit, and then makes me realize it, and then I'm like, okay, like time to go back to the movie. But so it's not really like a major difference, but it's kind of just that little like, oh yeah, this happened, and then oh yeah, like time to get back into the movie. But it wasn't like anything too bad. But in the end, I think I really enjoyed like just being able to like compare like how a novel could have its pros and cons, such as like being able to describe detail and bring out emotions of the narrator, more effectively, because films really don't focus on that as much. I feel like films kind of like to focus more on the story itself, not rather than the protagonist. I feel like I connect better with the protagonist in novels rather than in the stories, because in the films, like, they're not never really focused. It just more like tells the story from a third person perspective, not really from the first person. And I think that just this class really showed me like that films have their pros and cons, and novels have their pros and cons, and a book and a film could be similar, but they'll never be like the exact same. And people will like the film for this reason, or novels are like, or people will like the novel for these reasons. It's just always different. And I think that it just helped me realize that more. But overall, I really enjoyed this class, and the accelerated rate was pretty fun, just to always be busy. Um, and like, just with these assignments were pretty enjoyable to do too, and usually pretty easy to talk about all these books and novels, because they're all pretty interesting. But overall, I enjoyed this class, and thank you, Jerry, for this summer course.